Hello, everyone, and welcome to the BroadBoys podcast. I'm Cade, and this is Micah, your reporters on the scene with some breaking news. Breaking news.
This just in. Ubisoft has confirmed today that they are reviewing a buyout option from Tencent.
Reviewing a buyout option.
Yes.
But didn't they get bought out?
Not yet.
Not yet.
But they're talking about it.
Now, Micah, please inform me and the audience, why is this such a big deal?
Tencent is a Chinese company notorious for taking games and turning them into microtransaction hell.
Oh, yes. So if you think about games that Tencent owns, they own Riot. Correct?
They own Riot, or a large portion of it. They own Supercell, which they bought in 2016. You know, your favorite Clash of Clans. They also own, I think, 80% of Ubisoft. No, sorry, not Ubisoft.
I was going to say, I was like, man.
Epic Games.
Not breaking news.
They own a large portion of Epic Games.
Yeah.
They also own WeChat, which is the largest communication platform in China.
Yeah. So if you're a Chinese listener here,
you know Tencent.
You know Tencent. And honestly, if you're not even a Chinese gamer, you should know who Tencent is. You should understand what they're doing in the space, because for consumers, it's not good. I would say that they have a lot of anti-consumer tendencies.
A little bit, yeah. They have been known to invest in companies and not do anything to them, but I doubt that'll be the case here with Ubisoft.
Yeah, that's more of a Microsoft.
Yeah.
And Tencent investing into, Supercell.
They bought Supercell at their height and just continued pumping microtransactions. I mean, they added the battle pass, they added all the new skins, they made, at least for when they bought it, they made building times longer, so more people were going to want to buy hammers, all the other fun stuff.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, because I actually didn't know that, and I just within the past year got back into playing Clash, and I did notice that they do the battle pass system, but I didn't attribute that to a foreign company.
I remember stopping the game and coming back and being like, there is so much I could buy now.
I'm not gonna lie, I bought the battle pass multiple times.
I did too. A couple
it's very
times,
helpful.
Yeah.
Very helpful for Clash of Clans.
See, they sold you. They got you.
And I think, they got me, but they have also, in the process of getting me, I am convinced it's still a good deal. If you consistently play the game.
That's literally the Amazon Prime Day mentality, where they slowly bump up the price to give you a big discount, but the discount is the same price as it was before.
Yeah, that's not exclusive, but it's like I can say, since I started playing back, it's been almost a year ago, I haven't noticed a change in the price of the battle pass at least, but it's been riddled with microtransactions. There's not only a monthly battle pass, but each month they have an event that goes on as well, and you buy the event pass, and then they have goblin builders, so you spend gems on, and now there's even the a second, I forget what the other kind of builder is, but it helps your builders as well. It doubles an hour or something like that, and you can upgrade it and you get it once a day.
Yeah.
So,
and I mean, that's what they did to a company that was at their height. Imagine what they're going to do to a company that's struggling and they're willing to buy it.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it a couple times, I think, but if you look at Ubisoft stock, it's a cliff. It's a cliff when you look at
it was just one failure after another.
And you look at their slated games for this year, shouldn't have been.
No, it shouldn't have been, but they've consistently botched it.
Yeah.
Right? They released Star Wars and it was a buggy mess, and it wasn't just a buggy mess, right? People will be okay with that. I mean, you look at Cyberpunk, right? It was a buggy mess, but by no means a failure. They sold over 20 million copies still.
Yeah.
Star Wars comes out, it's a buggy mess, but that generally isn't a big deal. People know it'll be fixed, right?
Yeah.
What it also was just mid story, mid gameplay. There was not a whole lot of redeeming qualities. They sold just over 1 million copies total.
Really?
Yep. It sold really well day one, and then just didn't sell anymore.
Yeah. I mean, that's just how it goes. I mean, I think the question, Tencent also owns Genshin Impact, right?
No, that's someone.
That's MiHoYo or whatever.
Yeah. Yep.
that also
I'm sure they own some amount of it because
that's
it's a
Kor
Chinese
I'm pretty sure
company.
that's is that Chinese or is that
Yep.
a Korean company?
One of the 2.
Okay.
It's an Asian company.
Okay. Well, um, for Tencent, at least, do we think that even if, you know, they riddle it with microtransactions, stuff like that, will it be better quality games coming
Well,
out?
so the interesting thing you say that, right, is most of the games that they've come back out with are generally good. They just also are really bad for anyone with a gambling,
Yeah.
and they're really bad for children.
Well, they target the whales and all that. And it's funny because China has such anti like gamer laws, you
Mhm.
know. So I guess they
Well, they really package those games and sell them
to outside
to
countries.
outside,
Yeah. Yeah.
like, you look at League, it's one of their biggest cash cows, same with,
With the $500 faker.
yes,
Faker army.
same as what's it called? It's Knights of Avalon or something. It's a s
Tencent's involved in that one too.
They own it. I believe
Okay.
it came from Tencent, Gaming, or whatever the
Yeah.
actual gaming.
Okay. That's interesting. I didn't know that. So I mean, it's
I
and I
could be wrong about the name, so don't.
yeah, and it's also interesting because when we think of gaming buyouts, we think of mainly Microsoft to me,
Mhm.
but it's not Tencent's not really a big three company, but I'm pretty sure it has more valuation as a company than Sony, Microsoft, and
Oh,
Nintendo.
yeah,
I
some
would probably even say combined.
I'm pretty sure it's well, I don't know about combined, but because I believe its valuation is just under 30 billion.
Yeah,
It's big, don't
it's
get me
big.
wrong. It's not like Microsoft big, but it's definitely bigger than Microsoft's gaming division.
Yeah, and I mean these are numbers, this is economy, yada yada, but it does
Mhm.
have an impact
Mhm.
on the products that we get, and not only that, but the culture of the products we get, how we interact with the devs, stuff like that. It's like how are if we have an issue with the next Assassin's Creed game with the battle pass, the Assassin's Creed Battle Royale.
They already pushed it back. So it was supposed to come out this year. It's now gonna come out late 2025. So they did an open play test for sorry, closed play test. It
Close.
was not open. And supposedly they got a ton of backlash.
Okay.
And they immediately, I think it was a week after the play test ended, they said, it's now 25."
Okay.
Um,
Well, I'm glad that they're taking their time at least instead of
I don't
launching the
know
product.
I don't know they can fix it.
Well, yeah, but at least they're trying
Yeah,
instead of
I know there's an NDA on what the actual problems were, but I've seen a lot of people's criticisms um, about the actual gameplay. Um, I don't know. You can call them woke. There is a level of
I'm
the,
sorry, hold on. What?
one of the biggest backlashes that I've been reading online is that the male character
Yeah.
is black in
Okay.
a Japanese Shogun era game.
Okay.
And I heard a lot of criticism that's just like, well, why not play as an Asian?
Okay, and what do you think about that?
Um, I think it would depend on how it's narratively portrayed.
Yeah.
Because if they just don't acknowledge it, which there's a part of me that's like, they could do that. I'd be like, why? That's kind of weird. If there's like a historical reason, like he's not actually a samurai, he's I don't know, sort of stranded pirate or something like it's trained. That's very assassin.
Okay. Yeah,
I could get behind that.
I mean, yeah, I feel like it's a little premature to be
I
for the
agree.
outrage
I
personally.
completely agree.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of um
I mean, you saw even with the Ghost of Your Toy
yeah.
thing, it's like, "Oh, we're playing as a woman.
Yeah.
Oh, we gotta play as a woman samurai."
I don't understand that sort of issue because historically it did happen.
It's also historical fiction.
It is historical fiction, so it doesn't even matter.
Exactly. So I don't know what people
Get over yourself.
yeah.
You sexist, you racists.
I mean, and also I feel like a lot of people I saw complaining about that weren't even Assassin's Creed fans.
I
I feel
know.
like there's a lot of,
There's
wolves in sheep's clothing kind of using the guise of like, "Oh, I'm one of the gamers. I'm here
yes.
for all you guys." But in reality, they're just like
I
they're
know.
just upset from
Yeah,
whatever.
exactly.
And I
Ah,
don't know.
completely
It's
agree.
I'm waiting to see how they treat it in the game personally, and honestly, I'm not even gonna play the game. I haven't
I
played the last couple Assassin's Creeds.
I
I have no reason to care.
I want to play the game. Like,
Sure.
don't get me wrong, I want to play
Do you
the
play
game.
Mirage?
I did not play
Do you play
Mirage.
Valhalla?
I did not play Valhalla. I'm a huge fan of the first 4 games and Syndicate. I enjoyed Syndicate.
I liked Unity.
It's like arguably one of the worst.
I don't know. I liked it. It was like French.
It was French.
Yeah, no, it's probably one of the worst ones, but it was probably the time that I played it at. I was like, yeah, this isn't bad. I needed a Skittles game at that point.
That's fair.
But I mean, anyway, but what were you talking?
I don't remember.
But in any case, it's like people just get upset
They
for
do.
I think uh the wrong things because the things I get upset at, they're the right things. But the people that get upset about the things that I'm not upset about,
They
they're
got
wrong.
it wrong.
They're wrong. Yeah. I'm glad you understand.
Yep, I completely understand. I have the exact same mentality.
Like, why isn't the next Assassin's Creed game like Katamari? Like Katamari Damacy. You know, where's the
I don't think
where's the Assassin's Creed platform fighter? Where's the
I think there is one. I think there is one.
What?
Well, they in the mid 2010s.
Are you talking about PlayStation All Stars right now?
No,
Okay.
in the mid 2010s, they did a bunch of spin-off games. Like there's a Assassin's Creed mobile game. I don't know that it still exists, but it did exist.
Okay.
And I think there was this sort of hybrid 3D, 2D platformer that would like switch between them.
Man, I don't know anything about. I'm realizing the more I talk about Assassin's Creed, I know nothing about it.
They tried everything and all sorts of spin-off after 4, which was their biggest game.
4 was the biggest game?
I believe
that makes me happy. I loved 4.
I believe 4, at least it was their highest rated. I'm sure one of the new ones might have sold more at this point.
Probably.
Just there's more gamers.
Yeah.
But I believe 4 was their fastest and best selling, at least at the time.
I love 4.
I love 4 too. I've
great.
put a lot
It's
of
not
hours in
really
it.
an Assassin's Creed game the way I view it. It's more of a pirate game.
Well,
and then when they tried to make a pirate game based off the boat played,
it was really bad.
Skull and Bones.
It's so bad.
Skull and Bones.
That released this year. Can you believe that?
I mean, that was the hyped up title. That's another reason why Ubisoft,
their quadruple A game.
They shouldn't be getting bought out. You know, if you think about it, you know what they really need to do?
Make another quadruple A game.
They need to make more Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle games. Because that's honestly their like in the recent years, one of the more critically positive reviewed series.
Yeah, I mean, I know we've talked about Assassin's Creed before. Like people liked Mirage, people liked Origin.
So there are people that are gonna love everything.
But they definitely weren't. The original Assassin's Creed fans didn't like it.
Okay.
And so they basically made two. It's such a weird decision for game devs to do, where you have diehard fans who will buy anything, and then you give them something to buy that's nothing like what they want, and they say, "Well, now I'm done with it. You broke my toy."
Well, I think that, I think it's perfectly fine to change the direction of a series. I think it's perfectly fine to not pander to your, older fans. I mean, you bring in there are lots of series that honestly wouldn't really work or sell in today's gaming client.
Oh, I completely agree. I think the trouble is they weren't giving anything to old fans that they would enjoy.
Yeah, because it's a new direction.
No, I know.
I just think the direction that they went.
They weren't releasing games for old fans. They kept releasing things for new fans and dropping off their old audience. The audience that could afford their games.
Yeah, because they're taking the series in a new direction.
I know.
I think that's perfectly fine.
I think it's perfectly fine too. But you got to think of it also as a business. Why is Ubisoft in this position? They've and I think we've talked about the Ubisoft coded games. They're for a different audience, but it's an audience that can't afford their games and doesn't appreciate them.
Yeah, no, listen. I'm not saying that Ubisoft made good decisions with the new Assassin's Creed game. I'm just saying, as a concept and as a whole, if a series takes a new direction, I think that's completely fine.
It's just, what's the point of bringing in a new audience if you're not going to make sure you keep them long term?
Well, I think there's a lot of different ways you could go in that new direction, and a part of it is maybe if you just keep making, like, wouldn't you appreciate a FIFA went in a new direction?
Yeah, I would, 100%.
And the reason why is because
But
it's been
I wish it would be, as EA has enough money. They can choose one of their games and just say it's different, right? Ubisoft wasn't releasing new IP. They didn't have the backup for their diehard fans, right? They went a different route with job the extraction shooter-ish game they have called The Division. Um, they have The Division
yes.
1 and The Division 2. Um, the Division 2 took it in a weird direction, but it took enough players from Division 1 where Division 1 no longer had the player base and started dying off from it. The Division 2 wasn't the same enough for the old Division 1 players to go to it.
Mhm.
And so both games just kind of went, "Ugh,"
Yeah.
and died.
Well, I feel like if they actually made the Division 2,
Mhm.
you know, a good game, because if
There are
there
still
are a lot
yeah.
of people that like the Division
Yep.
2, but the general consensus was, and that's why
Mhm.
a lot of people did, go back to Division 1 is
Yep.
because they felt like, and there's gonna be that kind of example in
Yeah.
every series and every game. I mean, like, you think about FIFA, you think about even Civ, like
Mhm.
Civ 7.
Yeah.
People want it to go in a different direction, or people want something new. That's always
Mhm.
something that, you know, people are like, "No,
Yep.
I want it to be the same game again," and you get the same game again. Mm,
The
you know
benefit with Civ, though, is it's not a live service game because it doesn't matter if some players are still playing 5, right? Their new audience will pick their favorite game, and then they'll just buy the DLCs, and when the game's done with development, it's done with development. The trouble is with a game like The Division 1, it's a live service game. You need those players to move to The Division 2 when it comes out.
Okay, but Assassin's Creed is also a single player series. And I know they're trying to put live service elements into it, but at its core, it's still a single player
No,
experience.
I completely agree, right? The trouble is they haven't in the past, do now, release DLCs for their games. So you didn't have, an audience that loved Assassin's Creed 4, and then that big audience bought 5 or 6 DLCs, right? They just bought the game, done. And then you made another game. Like, your model has to still cater to that sort of mentality, right? Civ comes out, they release 6 or 7 expansions. If you like Civ 5 and you didn't like Civ 6, you play Civ 5 with all your expansions. Happy, right? You play Civ 6 if you didn't like Civ 5 and you buy all your expansions. They get to collect on every new audience, and their old audience is still happy.
Okay, so why can't an old Assassin's Creed fan still just play 1 through 4?
Well, they can. It just doesn't make the money for Ubisoft. That's what I'm saying, right? Because no one.
Okay, so are we prioritizing here the
I'm not
gamers, or are
saying.
we prioritizing, like, as a business?
Well, the business still has to stay afloat. I still like,
Yes.
you
Yeah.
can't run at a negative and, gamers be happy.
Okay, I think I was coming at this from a different angle.
Like, I still want what's best for the gamer, right? And companies going under because of bad financial decisions is not good for the gamer.
Yes. Yes, that's very true, and I think, okay, so then going from that angle,
Mhm.
a best case scenario is you do the parallel pathing sort of deal. You make your games for the old fans, games for a new fan. I guess if that's you, if you want to capitalize off of both
Yep.
sets of audiences, Monster Hunter actually does this, or at least they did for a bit with
Mhm.
they had World come out in 2018. It's a
Mhm.
completely new, well, not
Yep.
completely new, but it's very different, very next gen. It was their biggest title that the company's ever seen.
Yep.
Um, and then 2021, they released Monster Hunter Rise, which was a lot more traditional Monster Hunter.
Mhm.
With they had new stuff as well. But
Yep.
it was a lot more, less big worlds, more gameplay and weapon focus. And so there are people who played World when Rise came out and they didn't like Rise, you know?
Didn't matter.
And but the old fans liked Rise, enough,
Yep.
enough to, be
Yep.
like, "Hey, this is sort of what we're looking for." It's honestly, old Monster Hunter fans are just gonna keep playing old Monster Hunter,
Yeah,
but
and that's fine, right? You just need enough of those old fans to say, "Hey, this is enough like my old game and a bit different to justify it being a newer game."
yes.
And
So,
then they sell it.
and that's probably a good parallel path.
Mhm. No, I completely agree. I think that's where a lot of game companies should head because keeping retro gaming alive, I think, is great, right? Like, keep the vibes of your old games going forward, but then also release new stuff that feels new. That's really good, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess if you have a critically acclaimed game because it's a phenomenal game, don't then change the formula because people liked the old
Yeah, but people, like, I mean, it
Nintendo does this.
with
They're
what?
well, so
Enlighten me.
Nintendo will release, say, take Mario for instance, right? They've even come full circle. Sorry, I'm sort of rambling. You take the new Legend of Zelda game, right? It's very much a back to basic, and they go in a cyclical pattern where they'll do these basic games, they'll reinvent them, but then their next will be their basic games again, and it's this sort of rotating counterpart where you continuously get new generation because they know their older audiences. And then when their younger audience grows up, they're now playing that game, right?
Okay. I understand the mentality there, I think, especially from an outside point of view, because
Mhm.
it's like, oh, you see the top-down game versus the 3D action game,
Yeah.
and that's what it seems like, but, I mean, Echoes of Wisdom is different from every other Zelda game
No, I know, but it's enough of the same.
because it
Enough
looks
of
the same,
return. It
because
it
it's top-down.
feels I mean, I haven't played it, but I've
It
watched
looks
gameplay.
that way. I don't know.
It
I feel like it's
feels I
superficial. Feels a little superficial to me.
most callbacks are superficial. You're not gonna return to an old N64 button scheme.
Yes.
Like, no one wants that, right? But they want the
Yes.
feel of those games.
Yes. No, I get what you're saying, and that in concept pathway makes a lot of
Give me your thoughts
sense.
in the comments.
Yep. Speaking of Nintendo, Micah, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
So there's been a lot of rumors.
Uh-huh.
Well, first of all,
Uh-huh.
Nintendo has said
Uh-huh.
last March that they're announcing the new console
Uh-huh.
within the next year.
Uh-huh.
And they said that, and every single Nintendo Direct, they're like, "No Switch 2 news will be announced during this
Mhm.
Direct." They have to say that for everything. Their indie
Yep.
partner showcases everything, right?
Mhm.
Because Nintendo fans are just rabid.
Yep.
So, my question for you,
Uh-huh.
it's probably on the horizon soon.
Uh-huh.
My guess would be we get a teaser in October, full showcase in January, launch spring.
Uh-huh.
What would make you buy the Switch 2?
Nothing. Nothing. I'm not gonna buy it at launch. I'm not gonna buy it the first year.
There's nothing that it could do.
Not that I can see, no. I don't think there's anything that the Switch 2 could do that I'm not going to say, "No, I can wait till."
Okay.
Like, I just don't think so.
Really?
Like, I don't play the Switch that I have handheld. If I play it, it's on the TV, so I could care less about a better screen. I don't know.
There's no
Um,
and there's no like, obviously, you're not attached to any IP or titles or anything like that, but is there anything that Nintendo could do to win you over at a launch purchase?
make I don't know. Make
And throw logic out the window here.
I would need some sort of big hit. It can't just be one game. I'm not buying a console for. It would need to be new release of stuff that I would actually want to play, right?
Okay.
The trouble is though, if they're still selling games at $75 on top of it, I could not justify what's the cheapest. Probably be 350, $400 for a new console.
Well, throw logic out the window. What would it take?
I would need logic out the window. The console costs 350, $400, whatever. I would want 3 games at minimum that I'm like, I want for 30 or $40. And then I think I could do
Okay.
it. And I know they're gonna announce a new console, they're gonna announce this slew of games with it, right?
Mhm.
What you do. They need to be something that I genuinely want.
Okay. When's the last Nintendo game that you genuinely wanted to play?
Smash,
Fair enough.
Tears of the Kingdom, Mario Kart.
So, let's say Miyamoto comes on stage.
Yeah.
He's like, "Hello, everyone. We're going a new direction with the Switch," right?
Okay. Yep.
You're hitting, same,
Mhm.
like, let's say similar design,
Mhm.
let's say PS4 level graphics, maybe even like in between a 4 and PS4 and PS5, right?
In a hybrid handheld format?
Yes, in a hybrid handheld.
Okay.
Let's say that to start. Boom, Mario Kart 9. Mario Kart 9, right off the rip.
I mean,
that's a. I'm already sold at this point.
That
You know, this is
that's very close to already being willing to do it. And Mario Kart 9 on PlayStation 4, graphics and power in a semi-handheld format is enough innovation that I could almost justify it in my
pause from a game.
Yep.
Hardware.
Mm-hmm.
They have repatented their Joy-Cons, no drift.
Like guaranteed?
Right? Guaranteed
and
no drift.
If there's problems, they'll replace it?
They bring it up in the presentation and guarantee no drift.
And they'll replace broken parts?
Yes.
I mean, then it's like there's no loss.
Mm-hmm.
Because that was the biggest reason I didn't buy the Switch initially. Was because
of the hardware?
Yeah, was because I wasn't gonna buy new Joy-Cons when they started drifting.
Well, you could always replace, but that's whatever.
It's still it's a process. It's tedium.
Yes, it's tedium. It's a process. Yada yada. So anyway, back to the games. Yep. They have Mario Kart 9.
Yep.
Brand new Animal Crossing.
I mean, that's not me, but my wife might like it.
Exactly. Which is, I know that.
Yeah.
And so your wife's gonna be like, Micah,
I want the Switch.
And then finally, let's say a game you would love.
Yeah.
A game you would love. Let's say
they do some sort of epic fantasy new IP.
Epic fantasy new IP game that's a dark fantasy.
I
dark political drama fantasy RPG.
They could do it, and I think it would be great, and that would sell me. I think right there. I know they could do it.
Okay.
Let me play. They have the chops for it. They do. With an epic soundtrack, that got me excited. I'm like literally, that would be super.
Have you ever played Fire Emblem?
Yes.
Have you played Fire Emblem 3 Houses?
No.
I would recommend.
Okay.
In that case. And then let's throw on top. Let's be really let's be outrageous. You could say. Let's say also like free online membership, not paid, and with the retro librarians.
Dude, I mean that's it. If that came with it, then I'm sold. You get the retro. Yeah, like the biggest things that I struggle with for Nintendo is the subscription. Medium placing. I think not having to deal with any of that would just sell me right away.
Interesting, but not enough for a day one launch, I would imagine. Because right now you're like, yeah, I'll think about it. I'll probably get it. If all those
things were there, I could foresee myself not necessarily day one, but one.
Yeah, and we'll just throw in like backwards compatibility. We'll throw it. Which
it's probably gonna have.
I mean, I would be very surprised.
I don't see that it doesn't. It's such standard these days have backwards compatibility.
Yes,
but I could also see Nintendo being like, "No, you have to buy our games again."
I mean, in the past, they've always done things in twos. And the Switch is the first game in like 4 or 5 generations where you can play Wii U games on the Switch, which makes sense because they swapped back to cartridge.
Yep.
But that was like the first game in like however many generations.
Yep.
I'd be very surprised if there wasn't backwards compatibility. It's probably going to be a 3DS, DS situation, if I had to guess. Little nub on the cart or something like that.
Yeah, probably.
But you're thinking month one. All right, let me try to get to day one. Let me try to get to day one launch.
And the trouble is I'm a skeptic, naturally, and even if they say all these things, I would still want to at least see someone unbiased do a hardware review.
Okay, so we'll
like the best you would get me is week 1.
Yes,
that's the best.
We'll try to get you to week 1.
Yeah.
So we got Mario Kart 9.
Yep.
New Animal Crossing. Dark epic Micah coded fantasy.
Yes.
Kingdom Come Deliverance 3 is a Switch 2 exclusive.
Okay. Yep.
And it's at launch. And
Uh-huh.
in addition to backwards compatibility, in addition to the retro library and online membership being free,
Mhm.
we'll say, we will say throwing all of that
Mhm.
in addition to there's
Mhm.
no other really Nintendo IP that's gonna draw you in,
They have new controller design.
and you get a pro controller in box with
Ah,
no additional cost.
I mean, I could do week 1. That 100%.
There you go.
Having to buy the pro controller on top of stuff.
Mhm. It's a nice controller.
It is a very nice controller. It was just really frustrating to have to buy it.
Yes, that's
Like,
fair
no
enough.
other console makes you buy.
Well, yeah, I mean, if because the standard controllers, the Joy-Cons or whatever,
Yeah, I
but no, I know
know.
what you mean because this Joy-Cons are frustrating.
Yep.
Apparently, some leaked patents, which, I mean, we have no idea
Mhm.
if it's real or not, I guess, but
Yeah.
look a little bigger, a little more
Mhm.
bulkier, so that'd be nice. We'll see. So that's interesting. I mean, it took less than I thought. I thought I was gonna have to dig deeper.
I'm not a hater on these things. It's just tough to justify it.
Yes.
That's all.
So, yeah. I mean, for me, will I buy a week one? It honestly depends on the launch titles.
Exactly. It depends on the launch titles
It
for it. It's not. Even if it's a better console, I'm gonna wait for the game.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm a Nintendo fan,
Mhm.
but, if they're launching with, like, Steel Diver 2 and, like, I mean, granted, if they throw in a 3D Mario, I'm
Imagine though
probably getting it.
imagine though they have compatibility with a lot of mainstream games. Like, imagine cross-platform compatibility with maybe the there's no some of the PlayStation 4 games.
Yeah, like, maybe
Um,
like, what if it runs like Black Ops 6?
yeah, what if it does?
What if it does?
Why not?
If it's in between PS4, PS5,
Exactly.
just down res some of the
It
textures.
should already work. It's not too far of a stretch.
Yeah. I mean, with how companies are optimizing games, it's whatever, but you really because now Nintendo has to. I mean, they're not trying to, I think, but if
Mhm.
they wanna get that, they have to draw developers in. It's like, "No, you can have a second development team, you know, reformat this game for our console."
Yeah, I think the trouble is they just sell so uniquely that they don't have a drawn.
And honestly, like, that's why they try to do the cloud saving stuff,
Mhm.
which, I'm not a fan personally, but, it could get to the point where it's good enough where it doesn't even matter. It could.
It
I'm
could.
not gonna, say it can't.
Yeah.
But, I mean, right now, it's just a bad experience for all the cloud games on Switch One.
Yeah.
But all that to say,
I'm excited for the announcement.
I'm very excited for the announcement. I still honestly think it's gonna blow the PS5 and Xbox Series out of the water
Oh, for sales? 100%.
in terms of sales and honestly in terms of exclusives. I mean, granted, PS5, what exclusive? Astrobot,
There's nothing. Like, don't even
Microsoft, what exclusives?
there's no justification for either.
Yeah,
It's the worst generation of consoles.
I know, which is so weird because I mean, gaming is bigger than ever.
Yeah,
It's
no.
just you get,
It's we've gotten to the point where monetization is, and I think we've talked about it before, is just gaming is so big, right? That means games don't have to be as good because slop will still be eaten by a
flop will
lot of
sell.
people. Yeah.
Flop will sell.
Back when there were less gamers, they had to make better games to compete with all the other games.
Yeah.
Now there's enough gamers just to buy whatever they're marketed.
Yeah, it's true. You don't really need to think about competition as much. You still got to think about it a bit.
Mhm.
But I mean, most of the games that are made today, at least on a percentage scale, are indie games. And
Yep.
they're not really focused on competition
Nope.
unless you have, a
Yeah.
game that a Metroidvania and a
Mhm.
cute hand drawn art style
Yeah,
that
I mean, there's a lot of indie games that struggle to take off. It's
yes.
just the big guys with a lot of marketing know they don't have to.
Yeah, I mean, now you can just throw on whatever IP that
Exactly.
people like now. You don't need to use old
Yep.
IP. You don't have the old IP.
Mhm.
Those don't exist apparently.
That's why I am happy in a way that at least Star Wars Outlaws failed, right? Because it's showing that gamers are getting fed up with it.
Yes.
If you're tired of slop, stick it to them and don't buy the freaking game. Stop pre-ordering. That's on you. I think I've said that.
I'm gonna pre-order Monster Hunter a while. So, but I've seen enough gameplay.
But
I'm
you
convinced.
like
I'm
the
like,
company and you trust their game.
yeah.
Yeah, it's like I trust Larian Studios. I've liked all their games, so I was ready for Baldur's Gate.
You know what convinced me? You know what was crazy? What got me on that game was their TikTok. Because I didn't even know the game existed, and then a TikTok ad for a person rolling a nat 20 on kicking a squirrel
Yeah,
convinced me to buy the
it
game.
was yes. They put in enough clippable moments that was so good. I think they knew what they were doing.
I mean, apparently it had been beta for a long time by that point. So,
Yep.
cool. Because I remember the first trailer was back in like 2018,
Yeah,
2019 at the
it was
Game
long.
Awards.
Yep.
Man, I don't even remember the name. I don't even remember the
It's
trailer.
crazy they're still adding.
That is wild. I didn't even know that.
They added a whole bunch of new endings recently, which kind of makes me want to.
Oh, like the evil endings? Yeah,
Yep.
I saw something about that.
You know what also went out? So they released their modding tools, right? And basically they told everyone they're not going to release map making tools. Okay. Within the first week of modding tools coming out, they found that, hey, all of the map making tools were hidden behind some locked folders in the mod making tools. And what everyone thinks is that Larian actually put them in there for people to find, but they weren't allowed to release it because of their contract with uh, who owns D&D, Wizards of the Coast.
Yeah, Wizards. Oh, I hate those guys.
I know,
man. And then you got something just happened with the D&D rule set, right? Or D&D Beyond.
Well, so that thankfully was reversed. I'm a big D&D nerd, as you know. What they had said was with D&D 1 coming out, we're gonna deprecate all of your D&D 5th edition stuff.
So what is D&D 1? Is that just the new edition coming out?
It's the new edition. It's out technically. Most players don't like it. They did a very limited play test and then said, "This is our new one." And a lot of people were like, "Some things are better."
Is there an egregious example of like
Not
a
really.
new rule?
Just the rule set is so 5th edition was watered down from 4th.
Make it more accessible.
Make it more accessible.
Yep.
D&D 1 is like funny dice. And that's
so
it.
even more watered down?
It's more watered down. There's not really a class system. Your leveling system's really weird. It's meant to be more fluid.
Oh, yes, I'm remembering now. I'm remembering a funny clip. You don't even know what deity you worship as a warlock until level 3 or something.
You're a warlock, and you don't get to pick your patron until it's 2nd or 3rd level. And it's like, wait, you don't know who you sold your soul to? Same for clerics.
Yeah.
You don't pick your god until 2nd level.
Yeah, but that's more of like a logical, like, oops, that's funny and bad that you did that.
It's like, I don't understand how you miss these things on your playtest. And then you had the audacity to tell people, we're going to get rid of your 5th edition content.
Yeah.
Thankfully, they reversed that decision after massive backlash.
I mean, I'm pretty outside of that sphere, and I got hit with a lot of like content about like, man, people are not happy.
They've been doing such weird stuff, Wizards has.
Well, Wizards of the Coast have always been kind of the bad guy.
They have.
At least.
So something huge happened with Magic the Gathering recently. This is
okay.
Big news.
Card games, BroadBoys, broad topics.
Magic the Gathering. Have you heard of Commander?
That is a way to play Magic the Gathering.
It is. It is, in fact, their most popular way to play Magic the Gathering.
Okay.
Did you know for the last 30 years since it became a game mode? It might not be that long. I cannot recall exactly. It was run. The rules were not run by Wizards of the Coast. It was run by third party.
Okay.
Because it was never an official rule set created by Wizards of the Coast. It was created by someone who's considered the godfather.
Okay.
He developed this rule set to play with his friends in like his 50s. Anyway, he just recently died. Yes.
And the Wizards of the Coast
and what happened
were rubbing their fingers.
Yes. So what happened is basically Commander tournaments have been blowing up and everything. And Wizards have been releasing Commander cards. So they leaned into it, right? here are cards for your commander deck. So if you didn't know, commander is a deck of 100 cards. They all have to be different, except for your land cards, whatever. And you have one commander.
Okay.
They've been making commander packs and stuff like that, so you can, loot box style draw.
And then
your
just so
commander.
I have a reference, what's technically the standard way to play?
The standard way to play is you have a deck of 40 cards and it's 1v1.
And it's like you can have multiples.
Yep.
So commander isn't 1v1. Is what you're about to say.
Commander is up to 6 players. It might be 8 players. I don't remember.
The party mode.
It is party mode.
That sounds fun.
It is fun. It's a lot
game.
of fun.
Yeah.
And they had this thing called Rule 0, which is basically where you basically there aren't really any rules for commander other than the standard like cards, they're different, your commander, whatever. And then it was basically an agreed upon don't power game, right? You're here to have fun and play fun decks. It's been kind of that way. But,
yeah, don't be sweaty.
Yeah. But humans, we want to win, right?
Yeah,
we don't want to abuse it, but we still want to beat our opponents.
Yeah.
And so power scaling ended up happening, right? And so he dies last year, I think. 1 year later, so the committee was run by 5 people. Now it's 4 people. 1 year later, the 4 people come out and they ban 4 cards. Official, the first time cards have been banned. The cards they banned were reasonably banned. They were very, very powerful cards. The reason why players got upset was these cards were retailing for $150, $180, $200 because almost every single person who played Magic wanted the card.
Yeah.
The day after they were banned, the cards were selling for $30 to $50.
Ooh.
So many people who had
So if you were trying to be the next Logan Paul in Pokemon cards, you really got shafted by that.
You had a whole bunch, and so some players lost, $30,000, $40,000 worth of value.
That's on them. That's on them. You're gonna have that many. You're gonna scout that many cards. That's on you.
I agree.
Yeah,
I don't disagree. But what they did is they complained, and they complained hard about.
There's not as that many whales to complain that much. There were normal players that complained too. Then
they sent death threats to this committee, right? And what the committee did was, Wizards saw all these threats, and they put out an official post saying that they don't believe that a third-party entity should be allowed to get this much hate for a game that we all love. And therefore, they're going to take over the rule-making for Commander.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. What politicians?
Oh, I know. Very kind of them. Yeah. The fan base realized their mistake pretty quickly. This all happened in a span of a week.
Man, someone lost their life savings on like Commander Ziosk or whatever.
And so basically what Wizards have done is now they have full control over Commander.
Oof.
It's no longer like these 5, now 4, were doing voting. Right? They would let the community vote on certain rules and stuff and make them official. None of that's all gone now.
And we know how good Wizards is.
We know how good Wizards is. They've already decided how they're going to fix the issue. They're not going to ban those 4 cards. Instead, Commander's now going to have 4 tiers. You can have a Commander Power Tier 1, Power Tier 2, based on the cards that are in it. Because Wizards doesn't like when your cards get because then they're like, I can't resell this card.
So Wizards wants reselling? Or
Wizards wants to be able to take this card, this Lotus, and they want to be able to resell it as a shiny Lotus or those sorts of things.
Okay, so add more
Yep.
decals on it or different properties to it that they can make more money.
Exactly. They want to be able to resell it. If a card's banned, no one's going to buy it.
Yeah. I feel like Magic is like the only card community that has had that, at least in my memory. Because you can ban cards in other games. Granted they lose value, but to send death threats, come on.
It was bad. It was a very bad reaction.
So I'm just hearing this is like you reap what you sow.
The community screwed up.
And this is it sucks for but they're Commander tournaments.
Yes.
So that people will go and like play competitively.
Yep.
Okay. But for your average group of friends playing Commander, they don't care.
Yeah.
Unless they're really trying to buy a card.
Yeah, I mean they even if they're banned, but people still play with them with their friends, right? It's not
Okay. So that's interesting. I I don't personally know the scale of Magic. The community. I know it's the biggest card game, at least in the States right now.
I think it's second in the world to like Yu-Gi-Oh or something.
Yeah, or I think Pokemon TGCs
That could
actually,
be, yeah.
'cause
Those
that's
3 though are
yeah, yeah,
it.
those 3 have always been the
Yep.
card games. So it's so interesting because on one hand, I'm like, "Yeah, Wizards, get your fingers out of the pie." But then I'm like, "Well, you guys open the door for them."
Yeah, it was definitely the player base that let it happen.
And that's such a crazy story.
I know, and it was recent. It was crazy.
Man, when did Magic come out? Like, yeah, it was in the 90s.
19 I think it was before the 90s.
Yeah. And I mean, it's stuck around for the modern times. You know, it's because I think it's always been there in terms of popularity. It's just,
You're right,
it's
93.
Fluctuated.
1993.
1993, what a year. Just like 2010. The next game of the year
What a sweet transition.
we'll be talking about. So last year we had 2009, and we've gone from 97 all the way to 2009. We're in the 2010s.
Yep.
Finally, I feel like for the past 4 weeks we've been on the cusp of 2010s.
It's almost like for the last 10 episodes.
I know. It's crazy how that works. Where we go up 1 year every single episode. 2010. I've not done my research again. I prefer it this way, honestly. I get more surprised.
Okay. Well, take a guess at what it is. The studio was BioWare.
Star Wars: The Old Republic MMO.
No.
I'm pretty sure that was later anyway.
So both the BAFTAs and DICE chose this great game, Mass Effect 2.
Okay. Yes, I forgot BioWare made good games.
Yes,
oh, gosh.
BioWare makes good games. I don't remember what they've made recently, but
made good games. I mean, that's just a great pick.
I agree.
Off the dome, at least. I mean,
it's a good pick.
I don't know what else came out that year, though. You got a list for me?
Super Mario Galaxy 2, Red Dead Redemption.
Okay, okay. Man.
Rock Band 3. God of War 3. Xenoblade Chronicles.
Ooh.
Super Street Fighter 4. Halo Reach. One of my favorite Halo games.
Oh, this year.
Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. Civ 5 came out this year. The classic. Civilization 5.
What are we gonna do?
I don't know, man.
What are we gonna do?
I don't know. Those I think are the biggest ones. I can find some more. The first Alan Wake game. Oh shoot! Fallout New Vegas.
Oh.
Call of Duty Black Ops.
Oh no.
Mafia 2 for the Mafia fans. Just Cause 2.
Oh no.
Metro 2033. These are big games. Amnesia: The Dark Descent.
That's Amnesia?
Yep. Dead Rising 2. Fable 3 for the Fable fans.
Dead Rising
2. Super Meat Boy.
No. Man, all right.
Skate 3.
Ah! What? What?
I know, right?
All in 2010?
Yeah. Star Wars: The Force Unleashed 2. That one's such a good game.
I like that one.
I know.
What the heck?
Yeah, you've got
2010.
Yeah. Did I say Xenoblade Chronicles?
Oh, yes, you did.
Yes. On the Nintendo Wii.
Yes, it released on the Nintendo Wii.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, dude.
Like, you've got some of the best.
Hold on. I need to get my headspace right. Okay. I'm just gonna knock out Super Street Fighter 4.
Okay.
Which because it's not Ultra Street Fighter 4, which is with all the characters, but all right, you need to understand. Street Fighter 4 kind of saved Street Fighter.
This was Super Street Fighter 4.
Yes. Which I believe came out the same year, if not 1 year prior.
Something, yeah.
So it came out super soon after the first one. But any case.
Yeah.
Gosh, dude, what the heck? We got New Vegas next to Halo Reach, next to Mass Effect 2, next to
Red Dead Redemption.
Red Dead Redemption, next to Black Ops 1. Next to Xenoblade Chronicles. And Galaxy 2, which is amazing. Like I need it's underrated. But it's I think it has better levels personally, but that's me. Um, dude, I don't know how I'm gonna pick. I honestly don't know how I'm gonna pick. I'm just gonna say right now,
Wait, BioShock 2 also came out?
that's a
That's a
great game.
good game.
That's a great game.
I don't think that's game of the year, but
No, I mean compared to like, I'm sorry, BioShock. You know the train has already
I
left.
I know.
I'm even gonna say Mass Effect 2. I'm sorry, you're great. You're definitely in the top 5 of this
I,
list.
careful. Mass Effect 2 is arguably the best of the Mass Effect games.
And I'm with you. I'm with you. Best of the Mass Effect to my knowledge.
Mhm.
I must admit to my
Mhm.
knowledge. I'm not
Mhm.
in terms of what I've heard
Mhm.
from online. Mass Effect 2 is definitely the one for people like, yes, this is the
Mhm.
GOAT.
Mhm.
Um, but I can't like compared to
Well, what I find is interesting, right?
yes.
Right. I think
And both of them picked Mass Effect 2.
yes.
Man, I think that just shows how big of a deal it was.
I mean, it was
In a game, and this might be one of the best years. It must be the best year we've had so far.
I think you'll be surprised by some of the ones coming up, but it
Well,
is the
yes.
so far it is the best
Like
one.
2008 was amazing.
Uh-huh.
I'm giving it up for 2008 and 99.
I
99
mean
was good.
I mean, here's the thing, right? You've got Red Dead Redemption, one of my all-time favorite games.
That's good.
That, yep. Mass Effect 2, also one of all-time favorite games out there. Fallout New Vegas is also one of my favorite games out there. I think the trouble that I have with Fallout New Vegas is it's still filled with Bethesda quirks.
Like what?
Like what?
Well, yeah, hit me with
Um,
just because I hear Vegas, I'm like, oh my baby, oh my darling.
dialogue bugs,
Oh what? We're
NPC bugs,
thinking of bugs. That's why you're going at this angle.
getting stuck indoors.
Oh
It's
my
the it's the
gosh.
Bethesda thing. It's the Bethesda thing.
Oh my gosh.
Because here's the deal. For
If you see the perfect embodiment of man, are you gonna tell him his shoes untied?
yeah, as a courtesy, yeah,
Oh,
probably.
no. Okay.
So see, this is what I'm getting at, right? You've got games with impeccable stories, lifelong stories right now, right? Mass Effect 2, Red Dead Redemption, uh, you've got Fallout. I mean, BioShock 2 had a great story too.
Yeah.
Halo Reach was a great story.
Yeah.
Uh, you know, so then the trouble is, I don't know that any of those stories are better than others, right? Like I would even say Metro 2033.
Yeah. So
Phenomenal story.
maybe we look at gameplay then.
Then you look at
Maybe
gameplay.
we look at gameplay.
Yeah, you look at gameplay, and I think the trouble with New Vegas, why I'm going to knock it off my list here, is just all of the Bethesda quirks. In fact, my wife just started playing New Vegas.
Okay.
And I am shocked at the amount of things I don't remember being quirky that are just quirky.
Yeah.
Like,
What?
number one, the mouse sensitivity scroller practically doesn't work. I am shocked. Like, you put that thing down to 0, you move marginally less than that thing at max. It does practically nothing.
Okay.
Also, you can't change the resolution. I don't know what they thought, but it's permanently locked in 1280.
Yep. There you go.
Which is so weird.
Yeah. All right. The technical stuff. Yeah. Sure. I'll give it up. It's not. It has its quirks, as you said. It has its quirks. But it's so good. It's like the best Fallout. It is the best Fallout. I'm just gonna say.
No, it's the.
But also, I gotta also say, I did play it with mods.
Yeah.
And I played it with mods, not to add any content, but it was to like
all the quality of life
all
stuff.
the quality of life stuff, get rid of the filters, up-res the game.
It's all the stuff that you kind of need to have to actually play the game.
Oh, because you play it on consoles and the consoles.
Well, yeah, you could play it on the consoles.
If it was that big of a deal, it wouldn't have had such an amazing
but the
legacy
PC,
and
the
reception.
PC audience is the reason why it has legacy, though.
What?
Because of modding.
No.
Yes.
No. It has legacy because of the console game.
It doesn't. Well, yes, people enjoyed the console game, right? But it doesn't. People aren't playing it on a console. No one's going on their PlayStation.
Yes, as of 2024. But when the game came out, that was primarily how people
going
played.
on their PlayStation 4 and saying, "I want to play Fallout 3."
Right now, yeah.
We're talking legacy.
The legacy, we're the
It's
reason why Fallout New Vegas was so big was because of the people that played it on console.
well, that's fine. Sure. Yeah, sure.
Yes.
I mean, I
No,
could.
no, hold on. I need to say that.
Yeah.
Uh, it's off. I just need to agree with you that the technicalities does limit it.
Yeah.
But you said that like the PC gamers are what made the game popular and gave it the legacy.
I don't. I well, I kind of feel like it is because Fallout going forward was primarily a PC game. All of Bethesda's games have only lived on in PC.
Starting at Fallout 4, sure, but
No,
like
starting with freaking Morrowind. The only reason
yes,
it's
you
lived
do
is
have
because of PC.
not New Vegas though. New Vegas people console was I'm sure if you looked at the numbers from the year,
I mean,
console probably had the biggest sales.
maybe
It
it
probably
outsold
did
on
gang numbers over
maybe it outsold on
Xbox
Xbox
360.
360, but I don't know that it would have outsold.
Yeah. Anyway, that was a crazy side tangent. That
Yes.
was a crazy side tangent. All right.
Yes.
Anyway, I think I've actually have made up my mind.
That's crazy because I still haven't.
But I keep going back and forth. Honestly, like Reach is like it's calling to me.
Reach was miles ahead of every previous Halo game.
And you got to think about like I when I played Reach for the first time, I didn't even play the campaign.
Mhm.
I played the multiplayer and I
Yep.
played Forge.
Yep.
Forge was huge.
It was.
Forge was absolutely insanely huge.
And
The multiplayer was also, it did great numbers
Mhm.
and it was super fun. And then I played the campaign. The story is amazing. The
I
gameplay
agree.
is awesome. When I've been playing through the Halo series in
Mhm.
chronological order. So
Yeah.
jumping from Reach to Halo 1, I
Mhm.
was like, man, you can't do this. Man, you can't do that. Man, you can't do that. Man, the levels don't have this, this, and this, and this,
Yep.
and this. Because that's what, and I've been playing through 2. I
Yep.
played like half of 3.
Are you
That's just Reach.
Are you playing all the remastered? Or are you playing with the old version? Because when you
So
buy the Master Chief Collection, you can
yeah.
toggle
We
between
do
them.
the anniversary.
Mhm.
Yeah, and then
Yep.
I swap between the graphic
Mhm.
styles or
Mhm.
whatever. But I mean, it was just the Reach difference.
Oh, I know. Reach was
The way that
was...
they did utility in that game, the way that
Mhm.
it was a lot more smooth. Because Halo is pretty clunky compared to other shooters.
See, the struggle I have is Mass Effect was also following a Halo style shooter at that point.
Yeah.
And their story was really good. My 3 here is Halo Reach, Red Dead Redemption, and Mass Effect 2. I don't know that I could leave anything else on this table.
Yep.
Um,
I mean, those are all great games.
I know.
I'm grinning.
You don't even think Red Dead Redemption 2.
Red Dead Redemption 2.
Sorry, the Red Dead Redemption.
No, I mean it's not in my personal what I'm flipping between.
Yeah.
But it's like right next to it.
Okay, fair enough.
It's like for me, Mass Effect 2 and Red Dead,
Mhm.
and then my top 3.
Yeah.
So, but it's like
Oh, those 2
edge.
aren't even in your top 3? What? Vegas, Reach, and
Xenoblade Chronicles. You laugh. You laugh because you don't know.
I didn't play it then.
Have you played it? You haven't played it.
I have not played
and that's
that
okay.
Xenoblade Chronicles.
Well, Xenoblade Chronicles 1. All right. Do I need to sell you on this?
No, you don't need
you don't.
to.
I just need. All right. I'll tell you. Story is comparable to the other games.
Okay.
The story quality and level is comparable to the other games, and I'll tell you that right off the gate.
Mm-hmm.
It is I mean, what would you call it? I guess it's not an action RPG, but it's not turn-based RPG. It's like it's a JRPG. You auto attack and then you have abilities on cooldown.
No, I understand the game.
Yeah, and the world building.
Mm-hmm.
All right, here, look, I'll sell you on the world building. World building is one of the best parts. In the beginning.
You're not gonna sell me on it. So
2 giant mechs.
You should sell them. Sell the audience.
2 giant mechs. No, because I'm trying to sell you.
You're not gonna sell me.
That's what you think. All right,
Okay.
well, whatever. 2 giant mechs are fighting.
Okay.
And basically an endless ocean,
Uh-huh.
right?
Pacific Rim.
And so as the story, as the people know it, is that they both strike each other at the same time, causing each other to go dormant. One giant mechas called the Mechanis, and that's where all machines come from.
Okay.
One is called the Bionis, where all life comes from.
Okay.
So they're at war with each other.
Okay.
Right? So, but it's more complicated than that. The story starts with Mechanis killing a lot of people that the main character is attached to, right? It's really good. It's a massacre. The voice actor for the main guy absolutely killed it. It's like, I'll kill you.
Yep.
It's really good.
Okay.
I didn't do it justice.
Okay.
But it's so good. All the story themes are amazing. The gameplay is awesome. The way you progress and the people you meet and you can build a town and you can do all these things. It's sprawling. It's great.
Okay.
It was revolutionary for the time. This released on the Wii, and the RPG couldn't even dare make something half the size of Xenoblade Chronicles.
I will say, an RPG being released on the Wii is crazy. That's great. A good RPG. I'm not gonna say there weren't ones released.
The Masterclass RPG is what it is.
Yes, I do know that.
The Masterclass.
Yeah. I don't think it holds holds a candle to some of the other ones. That's all.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine because when we think about it, I haven't played all the games on the list. I haven't played Red Dead 1. I haven't played Mass Effect 2. You haven't played Xenoblade Chronicles.
Yeah.
And so from our experiences,
but we've both played Halo Reach.
Yes.
Yes.
Which is my number 2.
That's your number 2 behind Xenoblade?
Yeah. Listen, I've played many a RPG.
I think...
And many of an RPG have been in previous years, and I don't think they hold a candle to the Game of the Year status. Yeah. Xenoblade Chronicles is an RPG that I feel like actually deserves Game of the Year status. It's that good. It was that revolutionary. We want to talk about moving the needle. It moved the whole, gauge.
Well, goodness. If you're saying that, then I'm going to have to pick Halo Reach.
Yeah. No, I mean, I can't get mad at you for Halo Reach pick. I can't. I just can't get mad at you because it's like, it's right there.
But do you want to pick Xenoblade?
I'm picking Xenoblade.
Okay.
I have to pick Xenoblade. I mean, I don't have to, but I feel like that is the game.
I think here's where I'm going to be happy with. I think that their choice of Mass Effect 2 is good.
Yeah.
I think that's completely fine.
I don't think you can get mad at them choosing Mass Effect 2.
You can't get mad at that.
You couldn't get mad at anyone for choosing Halo Reach. You could definitely get mad at me for saying Xenoblade. But, even if they said any of the games we mentioned, if they said even Black Ops 1, I personally would have been like, oh, that's weird, but I understand.
I could understand it, right? I mean, there were certainly contenders that fall off, right? New Vegas, well, I think it got a lot of awards, if I remember correctly. I don't think it was even nominated for Game of the Year.
Yeah, which is I mean, this is such a stacked year. Force Unleashed 2. That was a super cinematic game.
I love the Force Unleashed 2. Like, you are playing... It's a movie game.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of like in that era of where movie games...
feel like a Jedi. So, I had a version on... This is story time.
Okay.
Story time before we finish this episode.
Yes.
I had a version of Force Unleashed 2. Okay? I was not able to save the game. Okay? Because just an issue with the disc.
Yeah.
On the Xbox 360. And so my brother and I sat in our basement and we took turns playing through the entire game.
Yeah.
And it was an absolute blast. We stayed up. It's a short game. It's relatively short.
Well, if you're getting all the collectibles and doing all that,
but
man, you could change your lightsaber color to orange in that game.
I know.
And
there was customization.
I loved it. That was back when different colored lightsabers felt like a big deal. Different lightsabers felt like a big deal. But man, what a great game. And the main character too. I love the main character.
Star Killer.
So cool.
Clone.
And he kind of, what is the big thing he rips down with the Force again?
He pulls down the frickin' watchtower when he escapes.
Yeah.
And then when you fight Vader, you're throwing platforms and it's so good.
Absolutely.
I know.
Absolutely.
Remember the cover art is just him.
Yes.
Lightning everywhere. It's so
and you get the Force lightning too, dude. It's just such.
It looks great for a game.
It looks great, and we haven't even talked about Galaxy 2 at all, which is such a crime. But if it was any other year,
Halo Reach is a very good game. And that's going to be my pick.
That's going to be your pick. I'm picking Xenoblade, but Halo Reach is kind of like my spirit pick. if you're being like,
And let me tell you, 2011 is not gonna be as good, but that's okay.
okay, how do you know what a good year is if you don't have the bad?
There are good games, don't get me wrong, but they're not those.
Man, they're not those games.
Mhm.
That was beautiful.
They really held out. They said we're gonna turn to 2010 and we're gonna get
Yeah,
'em.
they hit the 2010s right.
They did.
Did
They did.
man, and it's so crazy that I didn't even know that 2010 was that stacked of a year. I
Mhm.
mean, because when I think of stacked years, I think of even before we did this podcast, I was thinking like 2008 and 2017 were
Yep.
probably like some of the biggest years in gaming.
Mhm.
We didn't talk about Skate 3, dude. Like that game is amazing.
Have you heard they might be remaking it?
Instead of just making their new skate game,
I have no idea, but I've heard rumors that it's a
I thought they
remake.
were making. Well, if it is, then that's fine because it's a
I mean,
masterpiece.
I'll take a remake of it.
I'll buy it either way.
Yeah, I
Well,
probably
if it's a
would.
Skate 3 remake, I'll instantly buy it. If it's a new skate game, I'll wait.
Yeah,
Is how I'm saying.
I agree.
Skate
Which is why I think they might just do a remake of Skate 3.
Skate 3. And it was like the only game that was doing well. The original Skate was like the only game that was doing like the
Mhm.
joystick, like
Yep.
the trick stuff. My goodness, it was so genius.
Just like this
So
podcast.
thanks for watching all the way to the end. We appreciate you coming all the way, joining us on this journey. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. We'll see you next time. I've been Cade.
I've been Micah.
See ya.